the keynote speakers to please step up here for some few minutes, and so that if there are questions or things they want, people would want to clarify, maybe it would be a very good opportunity to do that. So let's give them a round of applause.
So, problem is the fact that FX is managing the campus deployment in telecom industries. And to solve this problem, it seems a bit complex because even the government has not been able to tame FX today. And I was thinking that one of the solutions would be how do we bring most of this OEM to Nigeria, whereby they establish in Nigeria and we have to pay in naira on most of the cases. And at the same time, I was privileged to attend a program in Barcelona, MWC, called 4 years from now. One of the initiatives that OEMs and major organizations working in Spain was doing was the fact that they were doing CSR, liaising with universities and doing research. So my question is to Huawei. One, is there any plan to bring Huawei to Nigeria instead of we have to pay FX to import everything from Huawei? Number one. Number two, what exactly are you doing supporting our university in knowledge, in the current knowledge gap? One of the keynote speakers spoke about the JAPA syndrome. And if we are not going to hide the truth, it's affecting the industry badly. However, we are graduating thousands every year, every second. What exactly is what we're doing in knowledge transfer? Thank you.
Dr. Koka, you made mention of the UN e-government index data. My problem is, as a researcher, you depend mainly on data. Now, if the data is giving an impression that it's not real, how do you, because India is 405, and we know that a lot of software development, a lot of product is coming from India. So how do you tally the index with the reality? Thank you.
Based on my personal experience in Huawei, I've been with Huawei for almost 2 decades now. So I'm part of the team that commenced the technology transfer for Huawei since 2010. So I personally have a project I gave ICT for Change, which we started training every year at least 2,000 Nigerian youths at the National Assembly. So outside this, from that we graduated to several other technology transfer for the youth. Then we later have Seed for the Future. Then we have women in ICT training. So several of those initiatives were being put forward by private individuals, and also sometimes the government recommend that we should have. And because of this, at both Abuja office and Lagos office, we have a very big training center, almost matching what we have at the HQ in Shenzhen. So for technology transfer, as a Nigerian, without being seen to be marketing Huawei or anything, I think the company is really doing well. This year, we are committed to training out of the 1 million Nigerian youths. The president already discussed with us that we should empower. So we are committed to training very close to something very tangible that I might not want to emphasize here, which we have committed to the new government in terms of technology transfer. So most of these guys, we have some of them that were sent to China because you are very passionate about that question. So we send some that perform very well to China for further training, and some of them will absorb them in the company. So that is the role we are playing in terms of that for the youth. Yes, for training, yes. The first one You're talking about what Huawei is doing to bring the OEMs. Huawei coming to Nigeria, right? So I know what you mean by that in terms of probably having the factory or something like that here, yes. So personally, as much as I know, within the management, so there were several attempts, even a couple of years ago, we were trying to have a factory in Lagos. So, and it's been very challenging stuff to get a very good location to have the structure. So that, with the relationship we have with the federal government, possibly that might be possible. But you know, Huawei is a private enterprise. It's not a Chinese government company. So it's very easy to do that, which I know at the very top level, they were discussing that. So, but by and large, what we have done is that the 6th region in Nigeria, Huawei has presence there. And we're doing a bit of what we can do to make things a bit easier and the cost to be reduced. Thank you.
Okay, so please hold on.
So it will provoke the thought, and I'll outline what might be happening with those figures, right? So the e-government rank 140 out of around about 195, okay? But it takes a view across all of the indices, and they take into account other anecdotal evidence that they put into this equation. We're going to see it, and I can see what that's about. So you can see how that equation works. So what it's showing is, I think, a broader context as well, okay? And it's relative to other countries. It's not just absolute. So relative to other countries, we sit at 140. So we need to unpick that to understand exactly why. Something, and this is showing up with India as well. So what I think may be shown here is the size of the population and the impact that is having, that is skewing it. What it's also therefore telling us is that, you know, it's a silent majority. Yeah, it's a silent majority. We have a huge challenge, given the size of our population, to actually have the penetration. And that's why, in the speech, I also said that it's one thing having broadband penetration, it's another thing having broadband consumption, which means you therefore have to have the devices that consume the broadband. And that's how I'm seeing the analysis. And a lot of the issues of the sheer scale of our population, although it's a huge opportunity that we're really yet to capitalize on, but we are moving in that direction, right? We've got to get the penetration to get the consumption, and we get the consumption, you get the impact, and you get the uplift. It's the same thing with India's population at 101 also. If you look at some of the other e-participation index, actually a lot better at 119, okay? So there's that aspect as well. But it makes you think, if that is 119, why should the overall index be 140? But if you look at the human capital index, it's 170. You look at Java is happening, okay, and it's highlighted. We still have the issue of the silent majority. But that comes the opportunity. In press a couple of days ago, the NASG Economic Summit Group said, look, on that side, on the supply side, we need to really invest in capacity building. So we have to get a whole range of things to reach out to the population that we have around capacity building. One child, one person at a time. And we have to have a program to make sure that happens. So I chair the Mass Immigration Syndrome Subcommittee at LCCI, Lagos Chamber of Commerce, right? And we're kind of just coming to some of our conclusions. If you ask anybody a question to say, if your child was jumping into a huge opportunity elsewhere, would you tell them not to go? No. You would. However, you want to make sure that the opportunity they're going to is legitimate. You want to make sure that if they actually are going to benefit from it, And for the country, we need to make sure that we actually get the benefits of that individual being out. Easy to invest in the country, to get diaspora remittances easily and so on, because that now actually exceeds oil as a source of diaspora remittances. The other thing is, the JAPA thing is actually cyclical if you look at it at the overseas side of things. I came back 15 years ago now, okay? And we have to, I came back and I've been doing what I've been doing. But we also have to make sure that we encourage people to bring the opportunity to come back. In Italy, Milan saw this problem. This problem is not just Nigeria. South Africa has a huge problem as well. If you speak to the embassy and so on, they'll say, yeah, how can we collaborate on making sure we do something about this? But I even South Africa, I lost a couple of staff to Dublin and so on and so forth. So we deal with it with capacity development. So there's a holistic thing that we need to put in place. So it therefore means we have to invest in, on the other side, capacity building and drive the right policies. So in Milan, if you go back, you'll be tax-free for 3 years, I think it is. I was talking to some of these Italians, that's one of the event I was talking at. And they say that they're using that to encourage Italians to go back to Italy, even from other countries in Europe. So it's not just our problem. But I think the silent majority is skewing the numbers. So finally, if you look at the human capital index is 170. So we have to do that capacity build as in this holistic view of how we deal with Japan on both sides. So that's why we probably have 140, because the human capital index is pretty poor at 170. And then you look at telecoms infrastructure index 139. That's where I'm thinking, actually, if you look at that, we're not on the scale, we're not doing too badly. So what's going on there? And I think last time BBC was talking about it, NCC has been looking on picking where that 139 came from. So let's not ignore the numbers, but I think it's the silent majority that might be causing something. But that silent majority is a challenge we have and the opportunity we have on the supply side of the population.
Okay. Thank you very much.
For me, to be part of this gathering, I believe it is distasteful for any Nigerian, be it government or the private sector, to start asking for transfer of technology from China, America, or wherever. You just have to develop this in your own country. You don't have a good system of education, and you want to develop technologically. If I want to ask you, did anybody transfer the nuclear capability to India? They developed it because they invested hugely in the educational sector. So asking Huawei to come and transfer the heartbeat of technology to you, so what's going to happen to them? They will be out of business. I've been in telecoms for 43 years of my life, and I've been running telecoms business for about 32 years now. I work with Israelis and all with Americans. Nobody is going to give it to you. Who gave to Western Nigeria the capability to go into electronics? Nobody. But because Western Nigeria had a good system of education, which today has to be STEM. If you are not talking science, you are not talking technology, you are not talking engineering, you are not talking mathematics, you are going nowhere. We'll just be gathering in symposia and nothing will come out. So why is not going to transfer? Please, that's the caveat I'm putting in. And as a Nigerian, if you look at America, you have a lot of Nigerians that are making waves in technology. I took part in the launch of this satellite and I saw a lot of Nigerians. So, thank you. So I've made my point, Mr. Rami. Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Challenges, and you're talking about other things that may not allow us to go at the same rate with those on the other side of the world. We're going to be in a cocoon, and we're going to be intellectual dwarfs, sitting down here and thinking that the whole world we can exist without the whole world. That's my personal experience as well, and I spent more than 25 years in the industry as well. So it's subjective, and I believe that the issue of JAPA, on another level, there is none of these gentlemen here who did school abroad. I mean,
a lot on the agencies at the federal level, government at the top. Local governments seems to be cut off entirely. I don't know, what can we do? Because one of the ideas you can share, when you go to some local governments, they barely have a website, even for the local government. And a lot of things are still wrong. So my question is, what can we do to connect them as we discuss this pathway to a prosperous nation as regards e-government?
Government or whatever. And anyway, these days we have the internet and everything is free. So it doesn't really matter whether anybody is jamping or not. I want people to jump. And as Raglan said, Coker said, we all came back. I've been doing this for 55 years. So I'm back. And I've done it on 4 continents. So people move about. And that's how innovation happens. That's how information moves about. All our students today, if they signed up to GitHub on year 1, by the time they left in year 4, they'd all be professionals worldwide. And people will be sort of seeking them left, right, and center. That is knowledge transfer. Not everybody can go. Not enough planes take us all away. People will always stay. There will always be a turnover. I don't think we need to worry about JAPA. As we said, it's cyclic. People come, people go. My parents went, I came back.